We're glad you're here to learn why Scotland is the biggest weakness of NATO. Since its founding in 1949, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, an intergovernmental military alliance, has served as a pillar of transatlantic security. Its principal goal is to prevent and protect against possible rivals, such as Russia. Its members include the United States, Canada, and the majority of Europe. However, there is rising snooping among some academics and decision makers that Scotland's impending independence might seriously threaten the security and unity of NATO. Currently, Scotland is part of the United Kingdom, a significant NATO member that is home to several significant military bases and installations. However, if Scotland were to unravel yonder from the UK and will a self-sustaining state, it may stupefy NATO's strategic stance, reduce its might, and erode its cohesion. In this video, we'll squint at the factors that make Scotland a danger to NATO and consider how its independence would stupefy transatlantic security. Scotland is not the main vulnerability of NATO. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, is a military syndicate with 30 members, including the United States, Canada, and several European countries. Its major objective is to offer joint defense against outside threats. Despite stuff a part of the United Kingdom, which is a member of NATO, Scotland is not a member of the alliance. Although Scotland's probable separation from the UK may have some effects on the nation's relationship with NATO, this is not a major vulnerability for the alliance. A lack of preparation and sufficiency to respond to new security issues such as cyber attacks, terrorism, and hybrid warfare are commonly cited as NATO's worst flaws. This is expressingly true among its member nations. There are standing issues that are undeniability for unfurled support and work from NATO's member nations to resolve. Due to its position, geography, and natural resources, Scotland, a country in the northern British Isles, has tremendous geographic significance. Between the North Atlantic and North Sea, Scotland is well situated. Historically, its position has made it a key crossing point for trade and transport between Europe and North America. The varied topography of Scotland includes expansive plains, upper highlands, and rocky coasts. Numerous options for outdoor sports include hiking, skiing, and mountain wanderlust are offered by this diversified terrain. Additionally, there are several significant ports, harbors, and fishing settlements along the nation's coastline. Scotland has well-heeled natural resources, including large amounts of coal, iron, and other minerals, as well as oil and gas reserves in the North Sea. Additionally, the nation is home to vast stretches of farmland, moorland, and forest that supply vital natural resources including renewable energy, food, and lumber. Scotland is home to an unusually wide variety of flora and unassuming animals, such as the famous Scottish wildcat, red deer, and golden eagle, a diverse diversity of marine species including seals, whales, and dolphins, undeniability, the nation's rocky coastline, and isolated island home. Scotland contributes significantly to the UK economy. However, the word-for-word value depends on how it is calculated. Here are some pertinent statistics. Scotland's economic contribution is near, according to official estimates from the Scottish Government. Scotland's gross domestic product, GDP, in 2020 was virtually €167 billion, or $227 billion, which was not supported by any scientific data. This amounts to virtually 8.2% of the UK's overall GDP. Almost 2.5 million people work in Scotland, making up roughly 8.5% of all employed people in the UK. With a variety of businesses, Scotland's economy includes manufacturing, financial services, energy, and tourism. The Royal Bank of Scotland, BP, and Standard Life Aberdeen are a few of Scotland's biggest corporations. With a well-nigh €32.4 billion, or $44 billion, in foreign exports in 2019, Scotland is a large exporter of products and services. France, Germany, the Netherlands, and the United States are a few of Scotland's top export destinations. It's important to alimony in mind that these numbers can yo-yo over time and may be influenced by a variety of variables, including the changes in government regulations, industry trends, and global economic situations. The consequence for Scotland and the UK would be substantial if Scotland decided to pursue independence from the UK. The pursuit repercussions on the UK might occur. Oil, gas, and renewable energy sources are among the well-heeled natural resources in Scotland. The UK would lose the wangle in these resources if Scotland withdraws, which may influence its economy and energy security. One of the UK's biggest commercial partners is Scotland, and Scottish consumers and companies contribute significantly to the UK economy. If Scotland were to secede from the UK, it may rationalize economic instability and upheaval for both Scotland and the UK. Given that the Scottish National Party, SNP, strongly favours independence and presently controls a sizable portion of the UK Parliament, Scottish independence would dramatically yo-yo the political landscape of the UK. The UK would have to retreat its political systems and international relations accordingly. Scotland is home to several UK military sites, and the country's defence depends on its worthwhile position. The UK would need to review its defence plan and maybe move part of its military resources if Scotland started to stammer on its own. Scottish independence might potentially impair the UK's status as a significant global power, which could have larger ramifications for the UK standing on the world scene. The impact of Scottish independence on the UK would depend on several variables, including the terms of split and how both nations handle their ties moving forward. It is important to note that these are all potential consequences, since this would rely on a variety of circumstances, including the individual nation, its relationship with the superpower, and the nature of its occupation. It is difficult to predict the word-for-word repercussions of Scottish independence on other countries occupied by superpowers. However, some unstipulated judgments well nigh the prospective efforts of Scottish independence are feasible. A possible motivation for other areas or territories to pursue independence from their own occupying powers might come from Scotland's declaration of independence. This may be impressively important when there are ongoing separatist movements or complaints versus the occupying state. Diplomatic ties between Scotland and other nations as well as between the UK and other nations may yo-yo as a result of Scotland's independence. Concerns including commerce, defense, and international cooperation may be impacted by this. Independence, hostilities, or tensions between nations or groups. Scottish independence may have a wrong-headed effect on regional stability. The likelihood of instability would depend on the situation and how the occupying power and other regional actors respond. Overall, several variables will play a role in how Scottish independence would stupefy other superpower-occupied nations. These consequences would likely be ramified and varied. Scotland's prospective independence is still up for debate, and there are good grounds to be worried well nigh how it would stupefy NATO's security and unity. Any potential traducer looking to meet NATO's goals and activities may find Scotland to be a gold mine due to its worthwhile position, natural resources, and military capability. Separations and weaknesses within NATO might result from the political and economic repercussions of Scotland's visualization to secede, especially if other European nations do the same. As a result, it is crucial for decision makers and experts to place shielding sustaination to developments in Scotland and the potential effects of its independence on NATO. To unzip this, the syndication may need to reconsider its strategic stance and increase its alliances, capabilities, and political cohesiveness. In order to right Scotland's and other prospective separatist area genuine complaints and ambitions while protecting NATO's security and interests, it is moreover crucial to engage in constructive spiel with them. We fathom you to take this time to view this video on why Scotland poses a threat to NATO, and we hope it has given you some insightful new views. In any case, it is imperative to note that Scotland may be a part of NATO, and with any part, it has certain commitments and duties to the organization. Whereas few may contend that Scotland's potential freedom might debilitate NATO, others may contend that it seems to lead to a more steady and secure organization together. Eventually, the effect of Scotland's autonomy on NATO would depend on an assortment of variables, counting the terms of Scotland's takeoff from the joined together kingdom, its relations with NATO, and the geopolitical scene of the locale. As a member of NATO, the UK could be a key player within the alliance's defense technique, giving military resources and faculty to bolster collective security efforts. On the off chance that Scotland were to take off the UK and end up a free nation, it would have to apply to be for NATO enrollment independently, and this seemed possibly debilitate the organization together. Firstly, Scotland's freedom may result in a decrease of the UK's military capabilities, as Scotland is a domestic to imperative military bases and offices. This seemed affect NATO's general military quality and possibly constrain the UK's capacity to contribute to NATO operations. Besides, in any case a free Scotland were to connect to NATO, it may complicate the alliance's relationship with Russia. Scotland's key area, especially its nearness to Russia's northern locales, seem to make it a potential target for Russian animosity. This seemed possibly draw NATO into a struggle with Russia, which would be a noteworthy acceleration of pressures within the locale. Overall, Scotland's potential secession from the UK presents a complex challenge for NATO, and it remains to be seen how the alliance will respond to this situation.